Imagine you could just inject something to heal an injury in record time, drop weight without trying, or maybe even roll back the clock on aging. Well, that's the powerful promise of peptides, and it's a trend that is absolutely exploding in biohacking circles. The big question is this a genuine breakthrough or a really, really dangerous gamble? This quote from Adam Taylor, a clinical anatomy director, just hits the nail on the head. You see, what's happening right now is that a whole lot of people are going online, buying these unregulated experimental substances, and then injecting them into their own bodies. They're chasing these incredible promises of recovery and anti-aging, essentially turning themselves into their own science experiments. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack all of it: the real science, the incredible hype, and the very serious risks. If you're someone who appreciates a clear, straightforward analysis of these kinds of complex topics, this is probably a good time to hit that subscribe button. We're all about cutting through the noise. Okay, so let's dive into this lab rat trend. I mean, you look at places like the Bay Area, where the pressure to optimize and perform is just off the charts. These substances are almost becoming a status symbol. For some folks in tech and the whole biohacking scene, it's seen as a shortcut, a way to get that edge. And here's where it gets kind of wild. Look at the names of these things. You've got these very sci-fi alphanumeric codes like BPC 157 and TB 500, but then they get these super catchy nicknames. You combine those two, for example, and suddenly it's called the Wolverine stack. I mean, come on, that's a direct reference to the comic book hero with insane healing powers. That's not science, that's marketing, and it's powerful. Right. All this talk about self-injecting a Wolverine stack can sound pretty alarming, I get it. So before we go any further, let's pump the brakes and get grounded in the actual science. What are peptides really? See, at their most basic level, peptides are not some weird foreign substance. They're totally natural. In fact, they're essential. They're just little chains of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. Think of them as tiny messengers or little text messages that float around your body telling your cells what to do. They're already a part of you. And this key and lock analogy is the perfect way to picture how they work. Each peptide is like a very specific, unique key. It travels through your body looking for one and only one particular lock, which is a receptor on the surface of a cell. When that key finds its lock and clicks into place, it turns and tells that cell to do something very specific. It's an incredibly precise and elegant system. So if peptides are natural and part of this elegant system, what's the problem? Well, here is the absolute most important point of this entire explainer. There are two completely different worlds when it comes to peptides: the legitimate regulated world of medicine and the complete wild west of the online gray market. And let's be really clear here, legitimate peptide drugs are a massive part of modern medicine. We're talking over $50 billion in sales. To put that in perspective, that's a huge chunk of the entire global pharmaceutical market. This is not some fringe biohacking fad. It's established, serious science. In the real medical world, we have over 100 peptide drugs that are fully FDA approved, and you definitely know some of them. We're talking about things like insulin for diabetes or Ozempic and Wegovy for weight loss. These drugs go through years, sometimes decades, of incredibly rigorous testing to prove they're safe and that they actually work. They're made in controlled labs, and of course, you need a doctor's prescription to get them. And this chart just lays it all out. The contrast couldn't be more stark. On one side, you have the pharmacy. Approved, tested, controlled, prescribed. And on the other, the gray market. Unapproved, untested, zero quality control, sold through a loophole. It's night and day. So you might be wondering, how on earth is this legal? Well, sellers get away with it by using this sneaky little loophole. They label their products for research purposes only, or not for human consumption. But then you look at their websites, their marketing, the forums where people talk about them, and it is crystal clear they are being sold for people to inject. It creates this incredibly dangerous gray area where you, the consumer, have absolutely no idea what you're really getting. Okay, so now that we get the science and we understand these two totally separate worlds, we can finally appreciate the true scale of the gamble people are taking. Let's get into the specifics of the dangers. And the list of potential risks is, well, it's pretty scary. First off, purity. You have no idea if what's in that vial is actually what the label says, if it's contaminated, or if it's the right dose. Then there are the biological risks. An unproven peptide could flip the wrong switch in your body, maybe even accelerating the growth of a cancer you didn't know you had. And that's not even mentioning the very real dangers of just injecting yourself at home, which can lead to serious infections, nerve damage, the works. Look, you don't have to take my word for it. This comes straight from the FDA. In actual warning letters they've sent to these sellers, they state it plainly. These unapproved drugs do not and cannot have the same guarantee of safety and effectiveness as the real thing. It's a direct warning from the highest authority there is. And this isn't just some theoretical risk. This stuff happens. Just recently, 2 women at a festival in Vegas ended up in the hospital. They'd gotten peptide injections and had a severe allergic reaction. Their tongues started to swell, they couldn't breathe properly. It's a terrifying reminder that the consequences can be very real and very immediate. So, let's bring it all home. We've looked at the trend, we've broken down the science, and we've walked through the risks. What is the big picture, bottom line takeaway here?
It's actually pretty simple. The legitimate science behind peptide therapies is incredibly promising. It is a genuine, exciting frontier in medicine. But the unregulated gray market is something else entirely. It's a massive, high-stakes experiment, and the people buying these products are the test subjects.
And that really leaves us with a final, crucial question to think about. In this relentless quest for self-improvement that we're all on, where do we draw the line? At what point does trying to optimize yourself cross over into just being part of a dangerous and, frankly, reckless experiment?